I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling on my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go, the only thing that I know. You were my gravity, but now I have to leave. I will let you go. Why do you feel that I want? What do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity. I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here as we get set for race number 4 of the second season of the NNSCRA Duracell Ultra Lite Series, continuing on our race weekend. The Tricky Triangle Pocono Raceway. 48 laps of racing here this afternoon as drivers prepare for the Giant Center 125. This racetrack very technical, long straightaways, 3 entirely separate corners modeled after tracks that were on the NASCAR circuit at one point or another, and usually, more often than not, when we come to Pocono, doesn't matter if it's in the Cup Series or the Lite Series, it's going to come down to pit strategy. The 48 laps that they have to make here, we know that they can only go maybe a maximum of 40 laps on fuel, so there will be a pit stop at some point in this race. More than likely, if we are able to tread this race in green flag conditions, it will be towards the end of the race, which means that that pit stop is going to be maybe a money stop into who's going to come away with this checkered flag. We've had 3 races and 3 different drivers go to victory lane so far this season. This race and the storylines coming to it have all of the effects and all the looks of early season storylines, with the fact that we have co-points leaders coming into this race. Juan Garcia and Roberto Crown Jr., a couple of teammates vying it out there. You've got 7 points separating the top 8 in the standings. I mean, you make one mistake here today, you're going to free fall through the points, but you get a victory, you could very well find yourself the new points leader heading into Phoenix. Speaking of Phoenix, an Arizona driver is on the pole position, one of our multiple Cup interlopers here this weekend, and that is the Bishop Family Racing number 16 with driver owner RJ Bishop on the pole. An all blue oval front row as Nathan Stapleton lines up to his outside. Now both of these drivers are chasing their first Duracell Ultra Lite Series victory. Obviously for Stapleton, that could help him out towards getting a playoff position. For RJ Bishop, he's just out here trying to get a checkered flag, obviously, but also trying to get some experience for tomorrow's Cup Series race, as he is not running for Duracell Ultra Lite Series points. Rest of the field behind them, if you're starting in the mid-pack, you're going to have to rely on having a good long-run car to work your way forward. If you're at the back, you may have to rely on pit strategy to get you the track position you lacked from not being able to put down the fast lap time yesterday in qualifying. But we'll see how it all plays out. It's time to go down trackside and get those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engine!
Go out there and have a good time today. Make it happen at the end, my friend. Big thumbs up here. You're ready to rock and roll. Good luck to you guys on pit road down there today.
Right side of your screen, you see your 30 car starting lineup for this afternoon's race. As I mentioned, multiple Cup drivers taking the opportunity here to log some laps, get some experience in preparation for tomorrow's Cup race here from Pocono. Anthony McCurry in the 55, Reggie Fogelman in the 11, Jack Mitchell in the 01. See how they do. Cup Light's debut here with Craig Batson behind the wheel of the number 91. We'll see how he does in his first Duracell Ultralight Series start. And as mentioned, things very close up at the top of the point standings. Juan Garcia and Roberto Crown Jr. right now tied for the points lead. Couple of teammates out of Trackhouse Racing. Michael Turner, our winner from last week at Vegas, only 1 point back. Ralph Mason and Nathan Stapleton, who's on the outside of the front row here, they are tied for 4th. They're only 4 points out, and a 3-way tie for 6th with Kyle Langland, Cam Wright Jr., and Jackson Haywood. They are all only 7 points out of the points lead. You see the 26 of Kyle Langland there. We documented yesterday. They didn't have time to be able to get the livery on that car before qualifying. Worked feverishly during the course of the evening and have the Chicago Blackhawks paint scheme on that car. We'll see that as his primary sponsor for the entirety of the season. He'd love to put that new livery in victory lane here this afternoon. But pace car makes the left-hand turn to pit road, and he will turn the field over into the hands of RJ Bishop as the Giant Center 125 is green at Pocono. Great jump for RJ Bishop. He's going to go to the point. Eli Bright now side by side with Nathan Stapleton for second. Stapleton with a nice run on the top side there off of turn number 1. Is going to clear for the second spot. He'll bring another Ford along with him in Kyle Langland. So 1, 2, 3 for the Blue Ovals heading into the tunnel turn. Langland a little slow there out of turn 2. McCrory will get to his outside looking for the 3rd spot. Side by side behind them for 5th. That's Jordan Anderson on the bottom, Cam Wright Jr. on the top. And you see right there, inside line, maybe the shorter way around the racetrack in the lower bank turn 3, but it certainly is not the fastest. Langland is going to lose multiple spots there. Wright Jr. goes around. Aubrey Powell goes around for 5th. And Jordan Anderson now to the inside looking for the 6th spot. Drivers are going to be fighting more often than not, I think, here today for the outside line through these corners, specifically over in turn number 3. As RJ Bishop continues to show the way, about 2 car lengths back to Nathan Stapleton, another car length and a half back to Anthony McCurry. Stapleton drives it deep into the tunnel turn, turn 2. Turn 2 may be one of the toughest corners in terms of the fact that it's one of the faster corners, but it's also one of the most abrasive. It's called the tunnel turn because the tunnel for the fans to be able to gain access to the infield runs underneath that specific corner. And because of the construction it took to be able to put that tunnel under there, there is a rather big bump in the center of the corner, and car bottoms out, loses grip, loses handling. It can be troublesome for these drivers. Let's look at this battle back here. 4-way battle for 3rd place. Cam Wright Jr. trying to work his way around Anthony McCurry, and he will pick up that spot. Aubrey Powell now looking to do the same. Kyle Langland, after having to recover after that moment off of turn 3, he's up here now in the 6th position, looking to move back into the top 5. He'll go to work on Anthony McCurry, drives it deep into the tunnel turn. Jordan Anderson right there as well in the 89 car. He's actually going to utilize that outside line. He'll pick up the 6th position on Langland, who now falls back into a battle for 7th with Nathan Fogler. Aubrey Powell now stuck on the inside line in the 71. Some big news out of the Haas Racing stable here this week, starting next week at Phoenix. The 71, the 8, and the 27 will all have sponsorship for the remainder of the season. M&M's, Exalta, Haas Automation amongst the primary sponsors announced this week for those drivers. As second place starting to heat up, Cam Wright Jr. may have one of the fastest cars here in the early going. He's been able to work his way up now into the top 5, now onto the podium, and looking for more in that Chevrolet. Cam, as we mentioned before the green, he's in that 3-way tie for the 7th position, only 7 points out of the points lead, so keep an eye on the momentum that 95 is on. Is in the first 3 races he has been able to pick up 2 top 10s, and remember, Cam Wright Jr. is one of those multiple drivers this season in lights that we've got no prior experience about. I think we could be looking at a future Next Gen Cup Series driver in the making. As we're going 3 wide into turn 1, Jordan Anderson had a nice run, a nice toe down the front straightaway. He'll put the 95 in the middle. McCurry goes to the top side. He'll pass them both. Cam Wright Jr. is going to hold off the 89, who now is under fire 3 wide with Nathan Fogler in the middle and Aubrey Powell up there on the top side. Kat Batson and Autumn Brooks looking on. The field has gotten rather spread out. A lot of cars straggling there towards the rear of the pack. A couple of them that didn't get the benefit of a good qualifying effort. Brody Kupski started back in the final row, and he's not made up much progress, currently in 27th. A couple of drivers, though, that really stand out to me that are running there towards the back. Michael Turner, who went to victory lane last week at Vegas, and Juan Garcia, if I'm not mistaken, is about to cross the start-finish line right there in last, 30th place. And he came into this race co-points leader with Roberto Crown Jr., who is right now running in 19th. Not great mid-pack, but is above his Trackout Racing teammate in terms of running order. McCrory with a big run here on Nathan Stapleton, who in turn had a big run on RJ Bishop heading here into turn 2. Drop a little further back. Kat Batson's going to work. Tried to the inside of Chris Dollerton, wasn't able to make that happen. Now Eli Bright jumps to the outside of the 39. Eli had himself a good qualifying effort, but was up on that outside line, kind of drifted back, now trying to work his way back forward. Currently in the 9th position. Chris Dollerton trying to make it back-to-back races where Michael Norman Motorsports Cars goes to victory lane off the heels of Turner's win last week at Vegas. Of course, Dollerton, a former Cup Series champion, but only running part-time. Intermittent races up there in the Cup Series for Blue Oval Automotive, full-time here in the Ultralight Series. Aubrey Powell trapped on that inside line. Here comes Kat Batson. You can see right there the run that if two cars are side by side and holding each other up, kind of dragging each other back with the side draft, that third car in line gets a tremendous run. As Cam Wright Jr., Anthony McCurry, this is for the, I believe, the 3rd position. And Cam will complete the pass on Anthony. Anthony got to battle back here, though, down the long front straightaway. Still out in front, though, RJ Bishop. He has led all 7 completed laps. Nathan Stapleton is ridden right in his tire tracks in the 2nd spot. These two qualified on the front row. They've been 1st and 2nd ever since. Eli Bright trying to make something happen there. He's going to lose a couple of spots. How about Nathan Fogler working his way up here in the 13? Good run as he's now scored in 4th. Just got around Anthony for that spot. Dropping McCurry back to 5th place. And Fogler looks like he wants to show the nose here. Maybe try the inside into turn 3. Instead, he'll stay glued to the back bumper of the Cheetos Camaro of Cam Wright Jr. Maybe trying to set him up for a pass down the front straightaway. Things have gotten rather single-filed out here now amongst the top 10, maybe as far back as the top 15. Fogler stepping out of line here on Cam Wright Jr. and now tucks back in line. Kat Batson now looking to the inside of Jack Mitchell. That would be his battle, I believe, for the 11th spot. Mike Sellier is working his way up into the top 15. Right now, 13th place, trying to hold up our Daytona winner, Skylar Taylor. Skylar with that early victory in the World Center of Racing to begin off the season at Daytona, but last week did not have a good run at Las Vegas and dropped 8 spots in the standings. Remember, the playoff system here for the Lite Series is the top 7 drivers in points will make their way into the playoffs, and then 3 spots will be given to wildcard drivers, those below 7th in points that have a victory, and it would go to the driver with the most wins. Look at this fan out here on the front straightaway. Almost was looking 4 wide there. Jack Mitchell way down low. But right now, Skylar Taylor, as things currently are scored, would have fallen into a wild card spot. Cole Coybe, our winner from Manassas, also would be in a wild card spot, leaving only one wild card spot available for a driver to point their way into the playoffs. A lot obviously can change between now and the regular season finale at Auto Club, but point still stands that for drivers that win, they want to keep themselves inside of the top 7 if at all possible, because it's not a guarantee that a victory is going to lock themselves a spot up in the wild card spot. There's going to be a lot of drivers, I feel, this season that are going to find victory lane and are not going to be able to finish inside the top 7 in points and are going to have to rely on the wild card spot, and we only have 3 limited positions available for drivers to be able to utilize that facet of the playoff system. As mid-pack, they are getting really racy here. We saw that near 4 wide with Jack Mitchell the previous time down the front straightaway. We fanned out 3 wide again. Mike Tellier in the middle of this, Cap Batson, Skylar Taylor. There's 3-time winner David Dixon moving around the outside. David searching for his first win of Season 2, 3 wins back in Season 1. He's 10th in the point standings, and it looks like both of the Southern Cross Racing cars really, really fast. Cam Wright Jr. up there. I believe he's now in a battle for second place, I saw. Trying to the inside of Nathan Stapleton, and David Dixon working his way up now into the top 10, or trying to. Cam Wright Jr. tried that inside line through 3. Couldn't make it stick. Now Anthony McCurry to his outside. Eli Bright going to go to the bottom. We're going to be 3 wide going into turn 1. Well, no, we're not. McCurry was able to clear them both. Move back into the 3rd spot. Eli Bright gets a little checked up there on the inside. Cam Wright Jr., look at that move. Got a big run on the top side, was able to get to the right rear quarter panel of McCurry coming off of turn 1. Anthony, I think, wanted to slide up and block that, but he couldn't. The 95 had too much speed. And Cam Wright Jr. moves back into the 3rd spot. Chris Dollerton on the move here as well. He just got around Eli Bright to crack the top 5 for the first time today. Quarter of the way through this race when RJ Bishop brings us back around to complete lap 12. Aubrey Powell also on the move, gets around Eli Bright, move her up to the 6th spot as Anthony now steps out of line on Cam Wright Jr. for 4th place. Well, this battling back here is a lot of fun to watch. Might be nerve-wracking for these drivers, but Jack Mitchell and that McDonald's Chevrolet Camaro is going to give us the opportunity to see what these drivers are dealing with as they make their way around this 2.5-mile triangle speedway. Let's go on board with the McDonald's Chevrolet Camaro here and give you a lap around the tricky triangle. Look at what Jack Mitchell and everybody else in the field are having to deal with as they make their way around this racetrack. A couple of observations there that I saw as we were on board with Mitchell was one thing. Most cars look like they're in 4th gear, making their way through the final corner, turn 3. Which means that if you are slowing down there through the center of the corner, it's going to be very difficult when you pick up the throttle to get momentum back that you may lose. A lot of drivers, usually at Pocono, like to shift down to that 3rd gear, get a little bit extra wheel spin, a little bit extra RPM, get a better launch, and then shift back up to 4th gear as they're approaching the start-finish line. So, interesting point of note there. Another thing I also observed as well was the rate of speed these drivers are approaching turn number 1. When we were on board there with Jack Mitchell, granted he wasn't exactly in a draft line. He was battling at the time with Reggie Fogelman down the front straightaway, but he almost hit 180 miles per hour. That amount of speed carried into turn number 1 that has some banking but not a lot means these tires are going to get worn down. And while we were talking at the beginning of the race about fuel being a concern of these drivers coming to pit road, I have a feeling Goodyear tires are going to be just as much of a priority for the drivers specifically when we eventually get to the point where they're going to have to hit that pit lane. As we were on that onboard with Mitchell, Cam Wright Jr. worked his way up into 2nd place, dislodging Nathan Stapleton back to 3rd. Eli Bright is now up to 4th with Chris Dollerton in 5th. Anthony McCurry has shifted all the way back now, I believe, to the 8th position. So Cam Wright Jr. is on the move. Chris Dollerton's on the move. Same can be said for Mike Tellier. We're starting to see as this race continues to progress and as the tires start to wear and the setups start to come in, who's got the long run setup, who's got the short run setup, and what adjustments are going to be made when that pit stop takes place. But it has been all RJ Bishop out in front here after starting on the pole position. He's had a couple of challenges from Nathan Stapleton and Cam Wright Jr., but he has kept them at bay. He's got the clean air to the nose, which is the big top priority for any driver when it comes to a race at Pocono, and we will see that be a running storyline tomorrow afternoon in the Cup Series race here as well, as we take a look at what's around the turn tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be the Hershey Park 150 as the Cup Series drivers will get ready to tackle the tricky triangle. Summer Henson, a rookie, captured the pole position earlier on today in the pole day qualifying. And then after that race is concluded, we pack it up. We were at the West Coast, came to the East Coast. We're going back to the West Coast as we'll be in the desert at Phoenix. We kick things off on Friday with pole day qualifying for the Duracell Ultra Light Series drivers. And then on Saturday, we will have the Cup Series drivers take to the Phoenix Raceway in preparation for both series' 5th race of the season. Let's look at what's around the turn, presented by NNSCRA Paint Designs. How about Jordan Anderson? Now up to the 3rd position and looking for more. Takes a peek here down the front straightaway on Cam Wright Jr. In the initial qualifying, it was all Fords up towards the front. Chevrolets didn't exactly have the best of qualifying efforts as a conglomerate, but you can see they definitely have some good long-run pace. As currently, Bowties sit in 2nd and 3rd. Nathan Stapleton has now fallen back to 4th. He's got a bit of a gap back to Dollerton, who's got his hands full with Aubrey Powell and Kyle Langland. Looking in terms of lap times here as well, we talk about the fall off. Well, RJ Bishop has had clean air to the nose. His fastest lap was a 56.704. Last time by, he ran a 57.5. And that time by, he ran a 57.8. That is a full 2nd and a 10th fall off from his fastest lap to the lap that he's currently run. Fastest lap of the race so far, held by Dave Smith at a 56.272. However, Dave is currently running back in the 22nd position, so you got to think a lot of draft came into play on that lap. And that has not translated to him having the consistent speed in the car to get up to the front. Well, we've been talking about the drivers up here towards the front of the field. They've been having a good day. How about the drivers at the back of the pack that are not doing well? Sean Galligan is right now in the final position of 30th. And he is running nearly 7/10 of a second behind the next closest car, which is Brody Kupski. Galligan has really fallen off here as the run has gone on and is in line right now for back-to-back poor performances. He didn't run well last week at Las Vegas, dropped 6 spots and stands down to 16th. Brody Kupski in the 41 just up ahead of him there. Brody coming into this one in the 18th position in points. He did have a good run last week at Las Vegas and jumped up 6 spots in the standings, but both he and Galligan are in a lot of trouble right now, and they've completely lost this tail end of the lead group, which still consists of co-points leader Juan Garcia, who's looking for his 3rd top 10 on the season. Right now, doesn't look like that's going to happen, and Michael Turner coming off that big win last week at Vegas that jumped him up to 3rd in the point standings. Right now, he is mired at the back. Cole Coiby, our winner from Manassas, is also towards the rear of the field here, and we were on board with Jack Mitchell not too long ago. He was around battling for the 11th, 12th position. He has since fallen back now to 22nd. Anthony McCrory, who was up in the top 5 for most of this race, has now fallen out of the top 15. He's now back in 20th place, battling here with his teammate Ralph Mason. So while a lot of drivers have progressively fallen through the field, there are a few drivers that have fallen hard. And you might think maybe they might be some of the first ones to want to dive onto pit road. The question is, when do you want to do that? As we look at Craig Batson, right now 17th in his Duracell Ultra Lite Series debut, the 3rd new entry out of KB Racing Enterprise. Matter of fact, you've got all 3 of the KB Racing cars in a row here with Cap Batson and Jackson Haywood as well, just up ahead in 15th and 16th. But we told you at the top of the show that these drivers could go probably around 40 laps on what they had in the tank. Tires, though, how far can you go on those? How far do you want to go on those? Did you want to maybe split this race in half, come to pit lane, get those 4 fresh tires for the next remaining 24 laps, and know for certain you were going to be able to make it on fuel from that point on? The lap time that we are losing here indicates I feel like you could gain a lot if you came to pit road right now. I mean, you're looking at over a second in terms of lap time that you could gain if you come to pit road now and others stay out and try and go for that really, really long strategy. Granted, you don't have draft that will come into play, so that might be something that they would have to consider. I just don't know how far you really want to go here. Cam Wright Jr. had a nice run there. He's going to look to the inside on RJ Bishop. It'll be the first time, I think, all day long that RJ has had a car to his left rear quarter panel challenging him for the lead. He's had drivers on his back bumper, but they've never gotten alongside him. That was the first challenge he has met so far in this one. And look at how RJ all of a sudden has a whole chorus of drivers behind him. Not only the 95 of Cam Wright Jr., but Jordan Anderson is there, and Kyle Langland is now up here in the conversation. Something tells me they had that 26 set up for the long run. Remember, he didn't fire off very well at the initial start. He fell back almost outside of the top 10, worked his way back up towards the top 5, kind of was in limbo from between 5th through 10th, but now he's the last car in this pack of 4, and he might have the fastest car on the racetrack right now, as he'll duck down to the inside of Jordan Anderson for 3rd place, headed for turn 1. And here comes Cam Wright Jr. back to the inside of RJ Bishop, and I think he's got him. RJ gonna battle back on the top side, though. If Cam had been able to keep his foot in the throttle, or at least get back to the throttle through the center of the corner, I think he would have cleared the 16, but RJ, with the benefit of that outside line, able to keep the top position. Cam might also have been able to slide up in front of RJ there when he got clear of the 16, but he didn't take it. And now he's going to be held out there by the 89 of Jordan Anderson, who's going to have the advantage on him that outside line through turn 3, and Anderson will now move into the runner-up spot. Cam, I think... I thought he might be coming to pit road. He majorly checked up on the exit of turn 3, and that stacked up Kyle Langland and Aubrey Powell. Look how everybody fans out now with the loss of momentum or the gain of momentum, whichever situation you're in. Ooh, near contact right there between Cam Wright Jr. and Nathan Stapleton as Aubrey Powell nearly had them 3 wide going into 1. About a couple of drivers that are just here in the latter half of the top 10. Mike Tellier, both of the Bishop family racing cars running really well here this afternoon, both in the top 10. Autumn Brooks having a great run here. Saw her earlier on this afternoon, failed to qualify for the Cup race tomorrow. Making the most of it here this weekend at Pocono, inside of the top 10. And a good battle back here for the 10th spot. Skylar Taylor had it. Eli Bright will swing around and take it. Here's Roberto Crown Jr. in the 18. We put a lot of emphasis on his teammate Juan Garcia and the horrible day that he is having. Roberto Crown Jr., though, is knocking on the door of the top 10. Last time by, scored in 12th place in a good fight here with Jackson Haywood on the inside. Colin Grace just behind as well in the 27. But Roberto Crown Jr., making the most of what he's got, trying to at least salvage the day with a top 10. A lot of the other drivers around the top of the point standings have struggled today. Not only Garcia, but Michael Turner's towards the back of the pack. Ralph Mason's back there. So an opportunity maybe for Roberto Crown Jr. to leave Pocono as the points leader. I think he's going to have a couple of drivers contending for that top spot on the point standings, though, with the runs that they're having. That's one of them right there in Cam Wright Jr. I think Kyle Langland, Nathan Stapleton as well might look to lay a claim to the points lead heading into Phoenix next week. We talked about this during qualifying yesterday. But some news out of the Bishop Family Racing Stable, this all-star car. We've seen Dylan Young behind the wheel of the 16, RJ Bishop as well. We've also been told that the other 2 drivers out of Young Motorsports will be taking turns behind the wheel of this car in specific lights races. Eric Sadler, the rookie out of the stable here this season in the Cup Series, as well as Dustin Bolin. Jordan Anderson tried there to make a challenge on RJ Bishop, and he's going to pay the price for it. Kyle Langland will swing around the outside. Not quite clear. Now he will be. His big checkup on the bottom there through turn 3. Langland will move into the 2nd spot. Well, RJ Bishop has secured the bonus point for most laps led, though it's not really going to count for anything since the 16 car the entire of the season will not be running for lights points. Look at the run. Did you see the run that Kyle Langland just got right there through turn 1? I mean, he closed up 4 or 5 car lengths right there. But a checkered flag is a checkered flag, and it goes down in the record books as a win. So RJ Bishop, while this wouldn't exactly count towards a playoff spot or anything like that, he still wants to go to victory lane. He's going to hold off these full-time lights drivers with everything he's got. Kyle Langland, Cam Wright Jr., Autumn Brooks, all these drivers, a win could mean an appearance in the playoffs later on this season. But they got to get around the Cup veteran to be able to do so. And I really think it's going to come down to that pit stop. Drivers have tried making challenges on RJ Bishop, but he's not giving them the top. He's forcing them on the bottom where they're having to lift a lot more. With the car getting tight through the center of the corner. Again, Langland looks to the inside. You see there, RJ able to roll that middle line, get that nice drive off down the straightaway, keeping the 26 at bay. I feel like on the racetrack, you're not going to be able to beat RJ. He's got the clean air. He's got the lane he wants into the corner, forcing you to do something different. I think pit road is where you're going to have to beat the 16. And to that end, I feel like you're going to have to leapfrog him too. You can't come down pit road the same lap. You're going to have to come down pit road 1 or 2 laps sooner. It's just a question of when do you make that dive onto pit lane, because we know they're going to have to. Nobody can make it on fuel, from what we've been told. Max amount of laps you can go is about 40 laps. And we are fast approaching that as well. We're about 10 laps away from that window. You're back here. Ron Aubrey Powell and Skylar Taylor, Nathan Stapleton, Autumn Brooks, Chris Dalton. I think you come to pit road now. Almost 3 wide here. Into turn 2. Autumn Brooks with left side tires down on the apron. Not going to find any grip down there. And Nathan Vogler looks to jump to the outside to take advantage. Dollarton around the outside of Powell to move into 8th. And look at this, nose to tail, Bishop, Langland, and Cam Wright Jr. Langland to the bottom. 95 does not go down there with him, doesn't offer any assist in terms of maybe potential draft. And now with the 26 having to bail out of the throttle, 95 going to jump to his outside, try and take advantage for second place. But the 89 of Jordan Anderson stays with Langland down the straight, and he's going to look maybe the inside 3 wide. Couldn't make it stick. Langland will stay in front of him, and Cam Wright Jr. will complete the pass for second place. Here comes Stapleton battling back. And Skylar Taylor, 2-time winner last season, didn't run the full season. Looking now for what would be his 4th career win in the series after winning the season opener at Daytona. And we're looking 3, maybe 4 down the front straightaway here. They fan out further back there. Cat Batson, Reggie Fogelman, Cole Coybe, Anthony McCurry all in a tussle. That's around the 20th position. Every position matters. Every position is a point, and while it was just as important last year with the fact we ran the classic point system with no playoffs, I think it's even more important this season because of the fact that every position, every point matters, whether you can maybe be in the top 7 in points to point your way into a playoff position, or let's say you're tied with somebody for most wins on the season that's outside of the top 7 in points, and it comes down between you and them of who's higher in the standings for that first wild card position, or even maybe more importantly, the last wild card position. You could go back and look at finishing a difference of 15th and 16th here at Pocono as to maybe the deciding factor into whether you're battling for a championship or not. Say it all the time. If you've got a car that can finish 15th, finish 15th. Don't wreck the car. Don't put yourself in a bad position trying to go for more than the car will allow you. That's right there. Cam Wright Jr., another challenge to RJ Bishop. Not able to complete the pass. Cam is the only one who has cleared RJ today, and he didn't take the opportunity to tuck up in front. I think we got pit stops coming up here. Oh, never mind. I thought we're in the wrong corner. I got myself confused. I thought we were going through 3, and I saw both RJ Bishop and Nathan Stapleton rather low going into that corner. They are still low here. They might... Are they coming in? No, they're not. Just all 3 cars right down there on that yellow line. Well, I would say that what we're seeing here this afternoon could be an indicator of what we will see in tomorrow's Cup Series race, but that's not the case anymore. Used to be that the Lite Series and the Cup Series ran the same physics, so we had a little bit general idea of maybe what to expect in terms of fuel window, in terms of side-by-side racing, but the fact that the Cup drivers now with the new next-gen car, that big rear spoiler, the PTA physics, the extra gear that they're able to use as well. And based off what we saw in qualifying, looks like going to be some higher speeds that they will carry into the corners tomorrow as well. Going to be an entirely different race. But it will be interesting to see because we've seen here today some great side-by-side racing. Drivers be able to work their way forward. Drivers that have been up at the front falling to the back. I mean, we've seen not just single file racing through the field and not the ability to pass, etc. Granted, nobody's been able to pass for the lead, but just about every other position on the racetrack has been swapped at some point or another. It'll be interesting to see if we will have a race tomorrow where there will be a lot of passing. We will have more laps as well. So what was a one-stop race today may end up being potentially a two-stop race tomorrow. We'll definitely be talking with some crew chief, crunching some numbers in preparation for that race. And talking of that race, if you're wondering what's coming up around the turn, tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is the Hershey Park 150, fourth race of the season for the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series drivers. Before we pack things up and head to Phoenix Raceway for its weekend, kick things off with qualifying for both the Duracell Ultralight Series and Next Gen Cup Series drivers. Lights drivers on Friday and Cup drivers on Saturday. Lights race will take place that afternoon on Saturday at 3 p.m. Cup race the following Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Drivers here trying to get maybe those last minute positions in preparation for their pit stops. RJ Bishop, now one thing we should point out in terms of RJ is with capturing the pole, he gets the #1 pit stall. That's great when you're making a pit stop under caution. But when you're making a pit stop under green, which I believe he's getting ready to do right now, he's going to throw down the gauntlet and he's going to be the first one to pit road. So I was going to bring up the fact when you got that first pit stall, you don't get nearly as good of a launch. You're not up to speed as when you've got a pit stall further back on pit lane. So RJ Bishop here, they're going to have to really nail this pit stop, and he's going to have to try to get a super good launch leaving pit road and making his way on the apron through turn 1, exiting out of turn 1 onto the Long Pond Straight. The only driver on pit lane here we will see, if coming down pit road all by himself, getting those tires in the early going, if that's going to keep him out in front once everything cycles around. This pit stop taking place with 11 laps to go. Skylar Taylor becomes only the second driver to lead this afternoon. And you might be expecting to see him on pit road this time by. Nope, staying out. Anybody here coming to pit road this lap? It does not look like it as we cycle through the field. Remember, RJ led all those laps, so he would have consumed the most fuel. Wouldn't have had to adhere to anyone's braking zones, so he would have been at the optimal throttle input of any of the other drivers. Everybody else having to check up for everybody's braking zones and everything would have been able to save a little bit more fuel. The one thing that is going to hurt RJ, he's going to have to hope these drivers are on pit road this lap, really, because they are getting some draft down these straightaways that he is not getting. Aubrey Powell looking to the bottom here on Skylar Taylor. This doesn't make any indication going into 3 that either of these drivers are planning on pitting. Oh, nope, Aubrey is pitting. Taylor will stay out another lap. Dollarton does the same. Here comes Cam Wright Jr., Nathan Fogler, Jordan Anderson. I believe that's Autumn Brooks back there behind him. Host of others behind them, including Anthony McCurry and Nathan Stapleton. RJ still by himself, waiting to see how this all cycles around. Skylar Taylor now going to have a challenge from Chris Dollarton down the straight, heading into turn 3. At some point, these drivers are going to have to hit pit road. We're on lap 40, and that was the number we were given, about the furthest that they can go. They were going to be anywhere from 8 to 10 laps short of making it, so they were going to have to make a pit stop. Looks like Taylor may have the hand out the window this time. Dollarton, Langland going to follow down. Craig Batson about to make his first green flag pit stop here in the Cup Series, and we still have some drivers staying out. I think I saw Roberto Crown Jr., Mike Tellier, Reggie Fogelman all stay out. Important lap-led bonus point there for the co-points leader coming into this afternoon, Roberto Crown Jr. And this play right here is interesting because is he thinking about taking on less fuel? If he's planning on doing that, then you would consider maybe only a 2-tire pit stop. Maybe the same for the 17 and the 11. Because the amount of fuel you're going to have to put in the car is going to be a lot less time than having to change all 4 tires. I know that tires are at an optimal right now. You've run over 40 laps on these Goodyears, but if you feel like the left sides can hold on for another 6-7 laps, just change the right sides and you're going to gain a ton of track position. We are going to see the 18 hit pit road this time. We're going to stay with the 18 specifically to see if they go with just the 2-tire right side strategy or if they are going to change all 4. If they change all 4, then I have to think that they only planned on staying out that extra lap to get the bonus point. Mike Tellier there and Reggie Fogelman all going to be in the same camera shot. We'll see if they go with the right sides only and then send them down and away. They should only need a can. Yep, right sides for Tellier. He's gone. Roberto Crown Jr., same for him. Reggie Fogelman as well. But here, this group here, all up to speed. They're probably going to bypass them before they get over here to turn 1. Aubrey Powell has been able to leapfrog both RJ Bishop and Skylar Taylor. Remember, she came to pit road the lap after RJ Bishop, the lap before Skylar Taylor. The right side fresh tires and the optimal up to speed lap has put the 71 out in front. Aubrey Powell, we talked about the fact that all the Haas racing cars going to be having sponsorship starting next week at Phoenix. What a way to show the sponsorship that they made the right choice than to pick up a victory here in only your 4th career start in the Lite Series. But RJ Bishop, first time that he's had to be on the offense today, has been on defense the entirety of this race, led the first 36 laps, and now he has to try and run down Aubrey Powell to go coast to coast pole to win here at Pocono. 6 laps to go. Does he have the car to do it? Taylor is slotted into 3rd. Cam Wright Jr. in 4th. Nathan Fogler right now in 5th. And it's really these 5 cars. It's a big gap back to 6th place battle, which finds Chris Dollerton. How about Craig Batson in his debut? Right now holding down 7th. 8th is Kyle Langland. 9th is Jordan Anderson. And Autumn Brooks currently in the 10th position. As the field was somewhat spread out before that cycle green flag pit stops, it is majorly spread out now. Little pockets of race cars here battling all the way through the field. And Aubrey Powell with clean air for the first time this afternoon, looking up to the flag stand and seeing 5 laps remaining at the Pocono Raceway. Roberto Crown Jr. is now, Bishop looks to the bottom. Nice move there by Aubrey Powell, cutting down across the nose, putting the dirty air, the crosswind, across the front of the Family Dollar Ford. Gets RJ tight through the center of the corner, so he can't get that momentum off. But for those wondering, the driver that ended up playing the long con strategy, Roberto Crown Jr., he cycled around to 11th place. Mike Tellier was 13th. And Reggie Fogelman in 20th. So almost into the top 10 there, the strategy for the co-points leader. As side-by-side for 2nd, Skylar Taylor will get around RJ Bishop. That's exactly what Aubrey Powell wants to see. The more they battle for the 2nd place on back, the more Aubrey Powell is going to be able to open up some daylight. Fuel's not going to be a concern about them getting it completely full of what they needed to get to the end. The amount of time it would have taken to change right side tires alone would have given them the fuel they needed to reach the checkered flag. Well, Haas Racing made a splash here this season on both the Cups and the Lite side. They never had a Lite Series team. They put together a group, put in Cole Koibe for his 2nd full-time season, but then also added in some drivers that had never run under the NNSCRA banner. Colin Grace got put in the 27. Aubrey Powell in the 71. Wes McCoy in the 8. They made some big strides in the Cup Series side as well, acquiring a third charter, putting Kyler Sestre behind the wheel, along with Matt Haas and Reggie Fogelman. Paid dividends at Daytona, with Matt Haas becoming the first two-time Daytona 500 winner. And now looking for their first Lite Series victory as an organization. It is a huge gap now back to second place battle between Skylar Taylor and Cam Wright Jr. Then another battle behind them between Nathan Fogler and RJ Bishop for fourth. Aubrey Powell just worrying about hitting her marks, worrying about lap times, not even focusing, I'm sure, on the rearview mirror. If she has to focus, her spotter will tell her. But right now, I believe the words are just, hit your marks. And more than likely the countdown as well each time she hits the line, which this time she will hear 2 laps remaining at Pocono. Well, Aubrey Powell got off to a rough start at the beginning of the season at Daytona. She has slowly, though, progressed through the standings up to 12th after the first 3 races. 1 top 10 so far in her first 3 starts in Lite Series competition, but she's about to add a 1 to a separate column if she can make her way around through turn 3, see that white flag, and finish out the final 2.5 miles. As that battle's still on for second place between Taylor and Cam Wright Jr. Nathan Fogler now going to close up on this battle as well after Cam had to back out a bit there going into turn 3. Craig Batson trying to get 6th from Chris Dollerton. He'll succeed in doing so. What a start to his career it will be if he finishes this high inside of the top 10. But you saw right there the white flag was displayed over the hood of the 71 of Aubrey Powell. The gap is nearly 0.8 of a second back to Skylar Taylor. Does Taylor have enough time, have enough momentum on these straightaways, and enough speed through the center of the corners to be able to at least make a challenge in Aubrey Powell going into turn 3? Out of 2, looks like about 5 car lengths back to the Costco Mazda. Just 1 more corner to go for Aubrey Powell. Left side's right down on that yellow line. Picks up the throttle through the center of the corner. And off turn 3 for the final time. Aubrey Powell will get her first career win in the Duracell Ultra Lite Series. She will take the checkered flag at Pocono, the Giant Center 125. Great battle back there to the line around the 4th position. Looks like Fogler held on to it. Bishop got 5th. Craig Batson in 6th as they were 3 wide crossing the stripe there. But Aubrey Powell, you go back to the pit stop she made. She had that good lap just before her pit stop in the draft of Skylar Taylor. She came out with drivers to draft with after her pit stop. She leapfrogged both RJ Bishop and Skylar Taylor. Had the clean air that Bishop had enjoyed for the first half of this race. And Powell closes out the deal for her first career win. It'll be interesting to see where this positions her points-wise. I would have to think this moves her at least up into the top 7, so she'd be into a playoff spot via points, but would have the win to fall back on if necessary near the end of the regular season in terms of fighting for a spot in the Duracell Ultra Lite Series playoffs. How about that? We're going to take a look here as I believe all the cars have crossed the start-finish line here. All 48 laps under green, all 30 cars finishing on the lead lap. Good to see that. No torn up sheet metal, no mechanical problems. Just came down to raw speed and the right call in terms of strategy, and Aubrey Powell checked both of those boxes. Taylor will end up in 2nd. Well-needed run for a driver that had some bad luck last week at Las Vegas. Cam Wright Jr. had one of the top 3 fastest cars of the day, I feel, and he's going to finish in 3rd place. Nathan Fogler, great run there for that Toyota driver in 4th. And RJ Bishop, after leading 36 laps here today, starting on the pole, is going to have to settle for 5th place. Got bit on the green flag pit strategy. Craig Batson, great debut for him here this afternoon as he'll bring it home in 6th. Kyle Langland will finish the day out 7th. Chris Dollerton was 8th. Autumn Brooks, great run there in 9th. And Jordan Anderson with a great run in 10th place there. Some good momentum on that 89 after a top 5 run last week and now a top 10 run this week. Anthony McCurry, he faded back but worked his way back up to finish in 11th. Colin Grace will finish in 12th. Roberto Crown Jr. brings it home in 13th. Mike Teller in 14th. Reggie Fogelman in 15th. Those 3, the 18, the 17, and the 11 went with the long strategy on pit strategy, and they netted themselves top 15s. Cole Koibe will finish in 16th place, with Jackson Haywood, Eli Bright, David Dixon, and Juan Garcia completing the top 20. Juan Garcia was en route most of this race to finish back outside of the top 25. Must have had a good pit stop there and was able to at least finish in 20th. Definitely not where he wanted to finish overall, though, coming in as the co-points leader. How about some of these other drivers that finished here towards the rear of the field? How about Nathan Stapleton, who ran up in the top 5 for most of this race, faded back, and something must have happened on that pit stop because he finishes 25th. Kat Batson was battling for a spot in the top 10 at one point. She faded back to finish in 26th. And Michael Turner, after the victory last week at Las Vegas, all the positions he gained, he might have just given them right back as he'll finish 28th, with Sean Galligan and Wes McCoy finishing in 29th and 30th. So a Haas Racing car wins, but a Haas Racing car also bookends the field in McCoy. A lot of drivers there that looked like they were going to have good runs did not get them. A lot of drivers looked like they were going to have horrible runs, were able to have good long run machines to work their way up, at least in, if not to the front, into either the top 10 or the top 15. And a lot of drivers that were running well in the point standings did not come away with good runs here at Pocono. It'll be interesting to see how that translates when the points are calculated. But what a race here this afternoon from the Tricky Triangle. Congratulations to Aubrey Powell on her first career victory in the Duracell Ultra Lite Series. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here from Pocono. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We've shown you full figure results, and you are now looking at the point stands as a result of this afternoon's festivities. Tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're right back here to cap off an exciting weekend in the Pocono Mountains. It's the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series drivers taking to the track for the Hershey Park 150. Cannot wait to see how that one plays out, especially after the excitement we saw here this afternoon. But until then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV. Offline racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.